authorized. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard of ICE International to Brussels Willy via Cologne with your present journey.
concerns, any issues that might come up during this cruise, during this tour, let me know. I'll be sitting in the back, but I'm sure it's going to be a great day. Our tour guide for today is Hedda, and he's going to tell you more about more details about the place.
My name is Hedda. I'm here from Hamburg. This is my home time, and I love to show you my city this morning because we have very beautiful sky this morning, and I would like to first go with you to the port because this is very beautiful scenery. If you have this orange red sky over the River Elbe, I would like to go first with you to the. They are not very known at this time. They haven't been famous, but the street where these clubs are, I will show you the street. Is called Great Liberty. There are the first music clubs of the Indra Club and the Star Clubs where the Beatles played, and the street itself is called Great Liberty. And great liberty not only refers to sexual liberty, it refers to religious liberty. Because Altona has been outside of Hamburg, and in Hamburg the people have been very strict, and only Christian people with Protestant Christian people could live there. But outside in Altona they allowed several cars. So not George Harrison, it was Pete Best. Pete Best and Paul McCartney, they had to spend a night over there because George Harrison, he was too young, he wasn't 21. And he wasn't allowed to play in the music clubs, and he was thrown out of the country. And so Paul McCartney, Pete Best, they got annoyed, and they put some fire in their hotel. And of course this is not allowed. And so they were arrested and spent one night in a cell in the police station of David, it is called, and you will see it on instructions in this part, and so these historical buildings, they could survive. But I will show you now the Nikolai Church. I told you we have 5 main churches, and all have been, yes, not destroyed, but damaged during Second World War, and they all have been, 4 of them have been renewed, but they left one, the Nikolai Church, as a war memorial. And now on your right side, this is the war memorial, the destroyed St. Nikolai Church. Now on your right side, you see, this was how it looked at the end of Second World War. Yes, and not to leave it as a memorial, they just left it this way. So if you make everything fine and proper again, people may forget what happened here in Hamburg, and 55,000 people died during this bombings, and they left one of these churches, the St. Nikolai Church, as a war memorial in the stages of here. Just some years when the winter is really getting cold, and people always are waiting because the government doesn't allow to go on the ice if it's too thin. So we are waiting if it's 10 centimeters, and they are looking every day and testing the ice, and if the ice is strong enough, 10 centimeters, you can take your skates and go skating all in the center of Hamburg. It's very beautiful. This is always like a party because some people start to sell some red wine or some sausages. It's like a party. People gather, they meet here on the Ulster Lake. It's really always very like a party if the Ulster
place. Proper shoes, proper clothes, warm clothes, life jacket. If somebody doesn't have a life jacket,
students for landing a job in the private sector. What outrages you the most?
Oh yeah. That one. Yeah. Of course I don't know.
Yep. Okay, then I'm glad. So that's perfect. I brought you some nice weather for today. So I brought you the sun. So we have a nice view today on the canals because it's most beautiful when the weather is okay. Houses already, but also on the left side we have a beautiful building. We call it a piece of art of brick, in fact, because all was built in the same style. It looks very, and we call it Amsterdamse school. Just repeat. It's the school, means the school, the style into the Rhine. how they lean over. We call them the dancing houses. And you don't actually learn Dutch. So this means canal of breweries. You have to imagine until the 19th century there were a lot of beer breweries over here. And in the Middle Ages, of course, the people only drank beer. Yeah, because the water was too... well, we have a special system here. I'll tell you later on the bus stop about that system.
But you can't walk outside.
Oh, you can.
Only, yeah,
In a moment, we step out of the boat.
Hey, you seem to be walking well considering the surgery.
Oh, there's no problem walking.
Technical Museum, built on the top of the eye tunnel. Coffee shop. Of course you can drink there a cup of coffee, but we know if it's named coffee shop, there you have the possibility to buy soft drinks there. It's not legal, it's allowed. We always say it's going in through the back door and going out through the front door. We are allowed, when the police controls us, we are allowed to have 5 gram on us.
Really?
Yeah, high definition video.
That's cool.
He'll end up with a Korean.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
But he was the one that we were working.
So everybody says weird glasses.
Studying
Now go into the direction of Central Station.
They're
Of
going
course, we are not going by train, but we will keep on using the boat. But it's good to mention.
Peninsula is right up here near Cherbourg. Okay, that's the Cotentin Peninsula where my finger is pointing. So the German army have gone all the way through Europe. They've reached the Cotentin Peninsula, and the nearest Channel Island to Cherbourg is Alderney. Alderney is our northern Channel Isle. It's about 200 meters.
Right, I'm just going to go through a couple of things with you first. We've got obviously jackets and life jackets for you. There's very little wind, so I'm
always worried about falling in when I come down here.
So we'll get your jackets and life jackets.
I do just need to give you a bit of extra safety information before we go any further. So we do carry a life raft on board. It's located at the front of the boat where we got you. Shipping marker, so you can see where it has sat rather a large collection of rocks, and this is quite a busy shipping passage. So the obelisk was here just to make sure that all the ships kept well away from this. Now when it comes to breathing, just chilling out.
Number 9, they get better. I vote Democrat because I believe oil companies' profits of 4% on a gallon of gas are obscene, but the government's taxing the same gallon at 15% isn't. 8, I vote Democrat because I believe the government will do a better job of spending my money than I can. I vote Democrat because freedom of speech is fine as long as nobody is offended by it. You wouldn't want to offend anybody, would you? Never. Here were you in at the moment of impact? Witness: Gucci sweats and Reeboks. Attorney: I knew you'd have more fun with this. It started and just kept going. Attorney: are you sexually active? Witness: no, I just lie there.
Chilean leader here to tell you this is the only wine in Napa Valley that ever twice won the best Cabernet in Napa Valley. It is, when I started drinking Caymus, not the special select, but their non-reserve wine, was 15 bucks a bottle at the local wine store. That's no longer the case.
No, not exactly.
Tonight, this same Caymus Special Select. However, theirs came off the ship This one came out of my Texas wine cellar, and this is 08. They had a little less than that. This says, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you.
And
well, there's confidence. I haven't said anything yet. It'll probably be fun. You know, it's not jokes. So I thought what I'd do, I would use you tonight as a test for my after dinner speeches that I intend to give in England over the winter. And I do the, you know, I do this, you know, clubs that Rotaries and the Nice and whatever, and it's dinner and then a speech. And so I've written a speech. This isn't all of it. This is a bit of it, and it's called "It's Not About Me." That's the show. The name of the title. I was going to call it Name Dropping, which is what it is, but it's about the people I've been lucky enough to meet. In 50 years, I know you. Now, come on, were you a child star? You'll say. Infant star. 50 years in show business now, and I thought, well, I'll start at the beginning. And let me tell you my first story. And because I know we have Canadian people here and American people here, and I'm English, you may gather, I want to tell you about the first American I ever met. Okay, I was brought up in a town called Salford near Manchester. It was a very industrial city. It's not glamorous at all. And I was born there because, you know, I wanted to be near my mother, you know. So I'm coming to the show tonight. So I got the show. I went to the show and I said, I'll leave a note at the box office if you wish to see me, you know. Well, I got the box office. I've got my tickets. And as soon as I gave them to the show, I told her, I said, we've got Mickey Rooney. Well, it got to the intermission and the manager came down and said, oh, Mr. Rooney, you must come round after the show. So I went round after the show and he gave me a hug because I was his bloody son or something, you know. Come on, we go to Sardis. So he took me to Sardis. I'd never been to Sardis. We went to Sardis with Mickey Rooney. I saw one of the girl dancers off the ship. And we sat there and he said, it was so great. He said that Phil, he's told me all about you. I said, oh, yeah. He went to Ascot with you and everything. He's my best friend. He said, listen, he said, while you're here, he said, would you like to meet anybody else on Broadway? I said, I'd love to, but we're sailing at midnight tomorrow night. Yeah. We go back to England. So I met the Mickey Rooney, which was one of. And the other person I met, I then went into television eventually to write and produce a show, and I did a show called 3-2-1. It was a game show I bought from Spain. And adapted it. 3-2-1. It was Un, Dos, Tres in Spain. I saw it on TV every night. Everybody watched it in bars. So I phoned up. I had no money to buy it, but I persuaded a TV company, Yorkshire Television, to buy it as long as I could write and produce it, which I did for 4 years. We had 20 million viewers on Saturday night. So it was 65 million in England. Whoa. And it was called 3-2-3. So Groucho looks at him, studies a little bit more, and then. So the waiter eventually said to him, can I recommend anything, sir? And Groucho said, yeah. How about another restaurant? And we got up, we went out, and the car was still waiting. He said, I know where we're going, follow me. Tell the driver where. And we went round, they had to go round Covent Garden, all the way around Piccadilly, and up into Great Windmill Street, where the Windmill Theatre used to be. And opposite was a little Jewish, deli called the Nosh Bar. Right? The Nosh Bar, a little Jewish deli. We're going there. So he said, we're going here. Groucho was an intellectual, you know. Yes. So was Harper.
So was Harper.
Yes. Groucho had a long correspondence with T.S. Eliot for many years, you know. And Harper was a member of the Algonquin Round Table. And he would go there with Dorothy Parker and all the, you know, George S. Kaufman and all those people. And of course he had the greatest line to open with. They'd all sit around a table like this, and Kaufman would speak, and who'd speak, and what have. And then he would stand up and he'd say, well, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, as he never spoke in the movies. No, but he was a very, very clever man, Harpo. And of course Groucho was wonderful. And he did a wonderful series. I just saw on the internet. Now you can get everything on the YouTube. And I put on Groucho there just to look at what he'd done. And there was an interviewer there on American television a few years ago. Very, not a bit like Letterman, but younger than Letterman. And years ago, and I can't remember his name now, and he did several interviews with Groucho, and he had him on this show, and he said to him, Groucho, will you sing us a song? So he said, what do you want? Well, he said, I'll do Lydia, the tattooed lady, you know? Oh, Lydia, my Lydia, say, have you seen Lydia? Lydia, and he's got some great lines. Anyway, and on her, with Washington crossing.
Wasn't David Frost, was it?
No, it was an American, I can't remember his name, very nice interview. But then Groucho does a little movement in the song. He does not a little bit, and it's so beautiful just to watch it. And he just walks along going, hallelujah, in the middle eight in the bar, and it's classic to watch. It's just beautiful. And so that's. To have met all these wonderful people, and there's many more. In fact, there's two. Anyway, I'm trying to think. I'll just tell you one against myself now. When it doesn't also, you have to be an equity member or variety artist to get in. And we used to go down there at lunchtime. It was full of boozers. You could go in there and I'd be the only person in there I'd never heard of. You know what I mean? Yeah. There'd be Peter O'Toole, Richard Harris, everybody was in there. And I was down there one day talking. I'll tell you, I'll finish with this little story. There was an actor I knew called Wilfred Lawson, and he was with the Old Vic, the Shakespeare company at that time. And he's been in lots of films. He was a tiny little man. He was about 70 odd. And he used to speak like that. Good evening, it's very nice to see you. And we were in there having a drink one day about 1:30, and in came Richard Burton down the steps. And he's Welsh, and this actor was Welsh as well, this little guy. And he came over and he said, hello, how lovely to see you, lovely to see you again, you know. What are you doing now? He said, well, I'm Wilfred Lawson. He said, I'm at the Old Vic Theatre we're doing Richard II, you know. Okay, let's go. Well, we must come and see, we'd love to see you. So it got about 2 o'clock, 2 for 15. And Burton said, what time does the show start tonight? He said, there's a matinee at 2:30. He said, well, you're in it, aren't you? Yes. He said, well, better get going. So somebody, we hadn't time even to call a cab, but the guy who owned the club, Jerry, he took us to the theatre. We got to the theatre, got out of the cab, and he ran in the back. He ran in, and the next thing he came, he said, I've got a seat. And we all walked and we sat in the second row of the circle, right, watching the show. Richard Burton, this guy, the actor, and myself. And he got to about the first act, about 20 minutes, and he turned round to Richard and he said, this is where I come off. This is where I come off. You're sitting in the circle watching the damn show. And so they sent the understudy, you know, naturally the understudy came on. And at the end of the act, Richard said to him, you were marvellous. That's the only time I met them. Anyway, it was just wonderful. And of course Peter, the wonderful Peter O'Toole. But I'll just tell you the quick story about Richard Harris. Richard was doing Henry IV, the Pirandello play in London, when I was at the Prince of Wales. And we used to meet in this Macready's Club, which was another theatre club. And he was wild, you know, Richard Harris. I mean, he was wonderful but wild. And one night, it was the old days when Covent Garden Market was open with the vegetables and the meat, not like it is now, and a few poncy bread. It was the big market for London. And the pubs, because of the market traders, would stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning so that the people who were carrying their sides of beef could go and have a beer, you see. So Richard Harris and a friend of mine called Jack Smethurst, who was a very good actor too, they were doing a show, The Long, the Short, the Tall, at the Royal Court with Peter O'Toole. So we all meet after dinner. He said, we have to dress, we're going to remember this play. So we all had tailored suits on, you know, in Covent Garden Meat Market porters, and we started getting a bit drunk, to put it mildly. And we're drinking here. About 2 o'clock in the morning, we end up in this bar in Covent Garden. Richard Harris, Peter O'Toole, Jack Smith. I mean, and Richard's got a little bit, you know, aggressive. So, in a amusing way, he said, there's these big meat porters, they're this big. And he said, right, anybody in this bar, I'll fight for £25. Who'll fight me for 25 quid? Come on, put your name up. Who'll fight me? And I will. And this guy came up, he's built like a railroad. And he said, okay, 25 quid to fight me. Come on now, put your fists up. Come on, try it. And Richard got right, and the guy goes boom, 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 and Richard Harris falls dead on the floor. So we pick him up, and he gets up, and he brushes him, and he gives the guy the 25 quid, and he says, right, anybody else?
Beautiful Spain.
My name is Leola and I will be your crystal escort. So I will be following along behind you and then I will be coming back to the bus about 5 or 10 minutes before. My name is Iria. I-R-I-A. Iria. And well, I would like to explain you that Iria means Galicia because in the 1st century Galicia was called Iria Flavia. About this man, it's a man,
And well, his name is Caronte. So it's related with the history of Hercules.
because it said that Hercules went to the underworld.
Oh, it's beautiful.
In the board we can see the area of A Coruña, and in this part, as you can see in the map, this part is the Atlantic Ocean dedicated to the ocean. Yes, it's perfect for surfing. Yes.
Not fake.
Municipality in Spain, I mean, it's a peninsula, right?
Just in the middle of the square, we can find the sculpture of Maria Pita.
Hello. My name is Tuna, and I'm from Norway. Yeah, and a lot of people have said to me, Tuna, har du kommit ihåg hur det var in or was to that effect? And I've said, how you come to be working on the Crystal Cruise? So tonight I'm going to tell of the tale. I come from the village in Honningsvag, and I always want to go to see the United States of America. And I want to go to New York. So I save up all the money to go to New York, $300, and I book in the Plaza Hotel in New York. Well, I've been there for one day, and they sent for me, and they said, Tuna, do you have the credit card? I said, no, I got points, from the supermarket. And they said, no. You expended all your, well, how much is it to stay here? He said, well, it's not so much the bill of the, you have to pay for all the extras. I said, what extras? He said, well, all the things, I said, what things? He said, well, the sauna, you've been to the sauna, the gymnasium. I said, I've never been in the sauna in the gymnasium. He said, well, it was there if you wanted it. He said, you've been to the late night discotheque? I said, I've never seen a discotheque. He said, well, it was there if you wanted it. He said, then the afternoon buffet with all the sandwiches. I said, I've never seen an afternoon buffet. He said, well, it was there if you wanted it. And you have to pay $800. And I said, huh, I haven't got $800. I said, I give you a bill. You pay this for me, $2,000. He said, what for? I said, for making love to me. He said, I never made love to you. I said, well. He didn't want it.
And Claudia will be our tour guides today. They promised us a wonderful day here in their beautiful little city. So if there's anything I can do to help make this tour a little better.
Guides, because we have other one, of course, Claudia. I also present you a very important person, our driver, of course, Pedro, vamos. So first of all, welcome to Portugal. Welcome to the city of Porto. And of course, I must say to you that for us, this is really the most beautiful Portuguese city. Well, quite normal. It's our city, of course. So, as you know, the tour that you are going to make this morning, well, we are going to try different. After that, the best driver. But the name is the same, Pedro. So, exactly the same. Pedro. So, welcome to our historical tram. Porto is very famous talking about electric tram like this one. Riverside, built nearby the Douro River. And just here, next to us or behind you, this building, it's one of the famous churches that we have in Porto. One of the 74 that I mentioned to you. But this one was really a very famous one because it was a convent. Through this area, along this area here, is where you can see all the typical houses, some of the oldest that I mentioned to you. And this is really the heart of the city. Everybody comes here. This is the most famous touristic place in the city of Porto, because along this area is where you find all the typical bars, restaurants, souvenirs.
What a beautiful city. The weather is just awesome. This is supposed to be a historical McDonald's. The building is the oldest of any McDonald's anywhere. Wow. They weren't kidding. They even have Happy Meals. beautiful here, leaving Portugal, Port of Portugal, sitting on the back of the ship. I think I need to get up and do some exercise. Well, maybe a little later.
Behind us. Where
Now you
the
know it's
very
like a
proud
camera or something,
payment
those things, right?
of the trumpeter.
Oh, you told?
Yeah.
Did you tell us that? The parent.
Well, they just think I'm weird wearing dark glasses, you know.
Are they the cutest things you've ever seen? Oh,
Okay, I got another one.
30 rat? Better.
Alright, so this is where Dave and Shay are staying. Wow, outdoor breakfast, can't beat this. Temperature's about 65, wouldn't you think? Somewhere in that neighborhood. Beautiful.
The sunrise this morning was just pinks and oranges.
Lisbon. Early on a Sunday morning. There's nobody out here. Park in Lisbon. Early on a Sunday morning.
Sorte que me assistes, ai mas que sorte eu viver tão desgraçado, nem certeza que nada mais serve.
Okay, walking around Lisbon, trying to figure out where to go. Use my iPad, it says turn right. Oh, 3 hours of walking. It's beautiful.
Made roasted potato. That's one of the main dishes. But then again, you have the bacalhau, the codfish as well. That's just, we're at college. This is where I want my kids to come over when they, well, I have a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old. So hopefully.
What's the approximate year of the castle?
The castle approximately is 9th century. It works on a regular basis. And now, talking about military position, look at the top, Dick, right there.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine attacking that? Can you see it from over here?
Oh, yeah, you betcha. Yeah,
See the top?
That would be very difficult.
Wow.
So that's where, you know, the Moors actually got so much stone and so much effort to put, you know, a huge fortress on the top.
What?
Yes.
They let it go up here?
Yes, the big sightseeing Bustleby is actually a hotel. Used to be the castle of... Especially if you pick up the arch as well. You know what I mean? You have the little arch, so... If you get pictures as well, okay? We can have them here for free. Yeah, this is the Palace of City Irish. You can go like this. That's the Atlantic Ocean right over there. Atlantic Ocean on the left-hand side. We're going to go there as well. This is actually this is where the first 007 movie was shot here in 1960.
Oh.
Centipede?
Centipede?
Centipede.
Centipede, son of a pea.
You let me in the door. Exit off the wall.
It's hard because people don't know though.
Wait till some tourists.
That's the Forte Carcavelos. It's also the reception of the Portuguese president. Barack Obama came here. Here we go, me and Barack Obama again. I'm sorry, baby. He was here. This is the place where the Portuguese president actually receives every single figure. The Portuguese, they want to have great lives, but Saturdays and Sundays they want to be drinking beer or being at the beach, and they don't want to work. So it's an option, but being away for such a period, long time from Portugal, always taught me that you work hard, you make a little money. Well, if I was a doctor, though.
I'm getting a video picture.
There you go. 28. Pickpocket tram. There you go.
Beautiful. What is this called again?
I don't know, Golgotha.
Wow.
All the brands, Louis Vuitton, Prada, Massimo Dutti, Mango,